Hi, I'm Rowdy Yeatts. I'm the CEO and founder of High Plains Biochar based in Laramie, Wyoming and LaPorte, Colorado. The Colorado Wyoming Biochar project is actually an extension of the Boulder Biochar project. So this originally started out in Boulder County, working with their Office of Sustainability and Climate Action, and they funded a project for us to go in and install some of our stoves at farms there in Boulder County to start the biochar co-op and to generate carbon credits through that biochar co-op. And the Colorado Wyoming Biochar project was some additional funding through the National Science Foundation that allowed us to expand the Boulder Biochar project across Colorado and Wyoming. So now this project spans 2 states and has a significant amount of additional funding for producers, growers, farms, and ranches who want to install our technologies and remove carbon from the atmosphere. Biochar is a carbon-rich material made typically from biomass like woody biomass. The reality is most all of you have made biochar in the past if you've had a campfire and found chunks of charcoal in the bottom of the pit, or if you've ever even burned toast, you've actually made biochar yourself. But in simple terms, it's a carbon-rich material that comes from an organic feedstock like woody biomass, and it's typically used as a soil amendment, but has a lot of other uses as well.
So that's the carbon itself.
That's it. In really simple terms, the way trees work, how they remove carbon from the atmosphere is they pull carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, they grow limbs, leaves, and roots, they temporarily store that carbon, and then when the tree dies or it burns, that carbon is released back into the atmosphere. So it's a big circle of carbon. What we do is we interrupt that circle by taking that woody biomass that the tree's already pulled the carbon out of the atmosphere, now it's in the form of woody biomass. We heat that woody biomass to high temperatures in the absence of oxygen, make a really stable form of carbon. That stable form of carbon does not go back in the atmosphere. So we've actually stopped that circle of carbon and taken that carbon, removed it from that cycle, and now put it in the soil in most cases. So that's how we're actually able to remove carbon from the atmosphere. We did emission testing on this particular stove. It turns out it's one of the cleanest burning stoves in the entire world, and it doesn't require any electricity for moving air. And from there, what we realized was that these technologies, that people want to make a difference. That people will drive a Prius, they'll drive a Tesla, they'll reuse grocery bags, they'll ride their bike to work. They just don't know how to actually remove carbon from the atmosphere. And I realized that if I could give people a way to actually remove carbon from the atmosphere that was small scale and easy to operate, that they would actually do it. And that's where this community scale program kind of came from. Was in my mind, I knew that people wanted to make a difference, and if I could just give them the technology to do so, that they would follow through with the project. And that's kind of how this has evolved, and we were able to hook up with the Colorado Wyoming Climate Engine, expand the project, expand this across 2 states, make several technologies available for these producers to empower people. That's really what our goal is as a company, is to empower people with technologies to actually make a difference.